Hello, all. Miss Steph here. Thank you for joining me for Science with Miss Steph. Today, we're going to learn how to classify a substance as transparent, translucent, or opaque. Stay tuned. I'm here. It says that I'm live. Hopefully, I still am live. But thank you so much for joining me today. Like I said, we're going to learn about some properties of light, and basically we're going to classify our liquids as transparent, translucent, or opaque. And believe it or not, being able to classify liquids or a substance as transparent, translucent, or opaque is actually very useful when you're looking at just using the substance in a particular situation. Like, you can really think through and imagine why that would make a difference. Why would I need to know whether something is transparent, translucent, or opaque? Why would I need to be able to make use of that, right? Those are important things when we're talking about being engineers, being scientists. We definitely want to be able to make decisions for what kind of materials we're going to use for an activity, about whether or not light and how much light can pass through it. Okay? And so that's what we're going to learn today: transparent, translucent, or opaque. Now it looks like I'm up here on Facebook. Yay, yay, yay. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Like I said, transparent, translucent, or opaque. So let's go ahead and just get on it, right? Let's do this. On Facebook, please, please, please let me know whether or not you're having trouble hearing me or whatever and what have you, because you know how things on Facebook in particular can get a little challenging, especially when the internet's having some feelings. Okay. So yeah, you should be able to see me really, really well. Okay. You should be able to see my materials, and you can also see this box over here on Instagram. But yeah. Um, We'll talk about that some other time. The materials you need for today's activity are the following. You need some cornstarch. All right. If you want to end up with something to play with for our tactile learners at the very end, you want to make sure you use cornstarch. If you don't have the desire to have something to play with at the end, you can use any type of like flour or powder. Okay. Definitely want a full cup. You see, I have pretty big cups that I'm using today. A full cup of water. You'll need some food coloring. The color that I'm going to use today is blue. You notice I'm not using my gel food coloring for today's activity because you don't necessarily need it. You don't need anything that's like particularly strong today, but you need some form of food coloring. I have a spoon. For obvious reasons. Hello, for this situation over here. And I've got 3 different clear cups. You do need the cups to be clear. Okay. And my final material or tool is a flashlight. You absolutely need a light source for today's activity. Once again, we're on today and we're hanging out. We're learning about transparent, translucent, and opaque. But transparent means all of the light from my light source, from my testing device. This is my testing device today. All of the light from my light source will go through. All right. That's what transparent means. Now, if something is translucent, and again, I'm using liquids today, okay, to do my testing, to do my demonstration of these properties and so forth, and these classifications. If something is translucent, that means that some of the light goes through. So can you think of different things that might be translucent? What is translucent? Okay. At the end, we'll give some examples. Maybe you can put some examples in the comments down below by the end of class today. What are some things that you can think of that are translucent and that it's helpful that they're translucent? Mm, that you need them. Oh, we've got quite a few people coming on. That you need it to be translucent. And then what are some things that are opaque? Opaque means no light passes through. Again, as scientists, as people that are living in the world, right, we need to use things that are sometimes transparent, right, where all of the light can pass through. And sometimes we want an item or substance to be translucent, where only some light passes through. And then sometimes we need something to be opaque, where you cannot see through it, okay, and no light passes through. It's actually quite important for that thing to be opaque. So let's go ahead now and use our materials that we have to demonstrate that. All right. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Miss Steph. This is Science with Miss Steph. Um, FYI, for those of you who like to watch the edited videos on YouTube later, those will start to be uploaded on Tuesdays now. Okay, so just keep in mind that this won't be on YouTube until Tuesday. All right, so I've got my little box here. The first thing that I want to demonstrate for you is translucent. Okay. Nope. Sorry. Remember, I told you. We get the mix up. Transparent. Transparent. We're going to demonstrate transparent. Okay. All of the light passes through. And some of you may have heard of terms like reflect and refract and all those types of things. We're not focused on that today. Today, we're focused on transparent, translucent, and opaque. Okay. So, if a substance, the water, okay, is transparent, all of my lights will be able to pass through. None of the light will be stopped. All right. And so you see here, the light is being water reflects light and refracts light and all that type of stuff. But all of the light, you see, I have my flashlight here. The flashlight is my light source. The flashlight is my testing tool today. Okay. All of my light, ooh, 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 ooh. All of my light is passing through. So this is transparent. All right. This water, this plain water, is transparent. Now let's see if I can add a substance to this water. Hey girl, thanks for coming on today. To this water to make it translucent, to maybe stop some of the light. Okay? And can we think of some particular items that we might want to be translucent, right? Sunglasses in particular are a type of translucent object, right? The lenses and sunglasses have some type of treatment, whether it be liquid or whatever, some type of treatment inside of them to make it translucent. Also, like sheer curtains. Sheer curtains are translucent. Some of the light can pass back and forth, but not all of it. Very frequently, things that are translucent, you can kind of sort of see through them a bit, but you might not see everything. Okay? So, let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, I told you this is not my gel food coloring. This is my run-of-the-mill food coloring, which, hello, has its place. All right. I just added some food coloring to my water. And right away, you can already tell that I might be able to kind of sort of see through it, right? Like, so even before I hold up my tool, my special flashlight, my tool to test it, the same way I tested the plain water, okay? I could do a simple test like this and hold up and try to look through it. Now let's find out what happens. Let's see if we see all of our light pass through when I shine it through my blue water, my now blue water. Okay, so as you can see, now my blue water, so it might be a little hard for you to see, but some of the light is passing through, not all of it. It's not all, but the thing is, some of it is. So that's how I know it's translucent, right? We're talking about transparent, translucent, and opaque substances today. And we're demonstrating all three of those classifications. Okay? Now, again, remember I mentioned to you earlier, there's reflect and refract and all that type of stuff. Reflect, and absorb. We said that you may have heard those terms before, okay? And that those things are related to transparent, translucent, and opaque, but they are not the same classifications, okay? Another way I could do this is if I put under my cup, I put my light source under my cup and see if some of my light can be shown. As you can see, there's some light that I'm able to see if I look this way, right? Okay. Or maybe I can look on my ceiling. Okay. Or maybe if I wanted to flash it on my wall or whatever and so forth. Okay. Or even at you. And notice that some of the light passes through. That's what makes it translucent. Now, now, I did promise you all three classifications, right? So now let's break out our cornstarch and see if we can demonstrate an opaque substance, a substance where none of the light passes through, where none of the light can get through. Once again, this is Miss Steph. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, today we're learning about light, and I'm actually going to make sure that we have 3 samples. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and then into my third cup, I'm adding some water. Okay, so we have our transparent, translucent, and now we're trying to make an opaque substance. So I'm going to add some powder. Now there are some powders, right, that you could add, right, that wouldn't necessarily make an opaque situation, right? Can you think of some of those powders? Can you think of maybe, sugar, salt, right? Sugar and salt completely dissolve and they make a solution. And so it would not make our liquid or our substance in our cup opaque, right? Because you can pass light, or at least some of the light, through. Okay? Whereas in this situation, just adding 1 scoop, you saw I just added 1 scoop of cornstarch, 1 scoop of cornstarch, okay, seems to be enough to transition my transparent water and make it into an opaque substance. So I'm going to test it. Thanks for coming on and joining me for Science with Miss Steph. Okay, I'm going to test it with my flashlight. Okay, now remember I showed you with the translucent substance, there's a couple of ways we can shine our flashlight. We can shine our flashlight on top or on the bottom. Let's start with the on top. Okay, so it's getting through the cup a bit, right? You see how some of that's going through, but you see that big old dark spot, right? Okay, so my cup is a transparent substance, but my cornstarch and water situation is a translucent substance. You see how I'm putting that close and you can't see the light go through? Yeah, right? So let's try this way, okay? So a little bit of the light is still getting through. So even though it's very cloudy, this substance, it still technically would be translucent. What do you think we could do? What could I do to make this completely opaque? What more could I add to make this completely opaque? Let's find out what happens if I add some more powder, right? I add more powder, right? Thanks for joining me today. Ooh, I've got a comment over here that says maybe I should add more color. Trust me, we're going to do that too. Why? Because you said it. And two, because color makes life better. And we always try all of that here um, on my channel slash whatnot, right? So again, from the top and then from the bottom. Okay. Now, from the bottom, I'm going to turn this light off here, my ring light. Okay. And you can see from the bottom, there's still a bit of light that's passing through. Less light passes through. Okay. A lot less light is passing through. Okay. But let's see. Let's go ahead and try the suggestion that we've got over here on Instagram. Let's see if adding some color, if adding a bit of color will change the situation. Let's see if adding a bit of color, all right, I'm going to pop my light on back on just so you can see what I'm doing. If adding a bit of color will help turn this into something more opaque. Again, opaque is a situation to where no light is passing through. If something is truly opaque, no light can get through. So let's use the same amount of color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We recall that using color with water made it translucent, right? So that means that it did stop some of the light. Okay. Stirring, 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 stirring. Okay. You ready? It was your suggestion, sis. So let's see what happens. All right. So we're going to go the same way on top. Okay. And you all know where I'm at. I'm in New York City. It's a busy place, so we have different sounds that happen sometimes. All right, so see, there's no light that is passing through. We've now created a completely opaque substance. Let's test it with my other light off to make sure that y'all can see. The substance is now completely opaque. So I added a powder and some color to make it completely opaque. All right. So let's review what we did today during our uh-huh. Yes, yes, yes. I've got a comment over here on Instagram. I'm not gonna repeat it, but yes. Exactly. You're exactly right. Hey, at least they're out and about doing their jobs. So that's good. Um, so we have three different classifications, right, as far as how much light passes through a substance: transparent, translucent, and opaque. Transparent, all of the light can pass through. It might be refracted, it might be separated, but it is all of the light is passing through. Then when you have translucent, some of the light is passing through. Even a little bit of light still would make something translucent. And remember, when we got over to our third situation over here, we had to add quite a few things to make it completely opaque. And you can think about why you would want something to be opaque. Okay, for example, like certain clothing, right? Most clothing is really close to opaque. Okay, you think about why you would want something translucent. Sunglasses are either close to are translucent, right? Even the glasses that you see me have on, I'm sure you all have noticed that I have some tinting in my glasses because it's stopping some of the light. It's stopping the blue light that we know that we've all been really strongly exposed to during this time of being, like some of us are 100% remote for now almost a year now, right? And so we need our eyes to be protected, which is what regular sunglasses do. They protect your eyes, but they're protecting your eyes from a different frequency of light. Okay, and that's something that's translucent. And then, of course, transparent. Our windows, a lot of us have transparent windows because we want, at least at certain times, to be able to let all of the light in, or we need to be able to see through it completely. So you see the connection, literally, you see, and figuratively see the connection between transparent and being able to see through it completely. There's a function there. It's useful to us, right? Um, so yeah, now this is transparent. All of the light passed through it. This is translucent, some light, and then this substance is opaque. Now, for my friends who like to play with their science, let's go ahead and turn this into one of our favorite things. Remember, I told you you could use any type of powder if you just wanted to be able to see and test, but you needed cornstarch specifically to be able to turn our opaque substance into one of our favorite things to play with. Does anyone know what cornstarch food coloring in water makes? As I add, would anyone like to comment and tell me what cornstarch, well, a specific ratio of cornstarch food coloring and water can make? hmm Anyone? I'm going to add quite a bit of cornstarch. All right. And I'm going to add a bit more food coloring because I think it's fun. Okay. And actually just like one drop of red. Anyone? Oh, yes. Do you have someone there with you helping you? Ah, you know what? So I've got my friend over here on Instagram. So yeah, the thing is with Ooblek is there's a couple of different spellings. Hmm. Um, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I usually use two O's when I spell it. All right. So we've got something very close to Ooblek. It's a little runny. It's a little runny. So I'm going to add. It's a really active day today. um, really active day today. I hope everyone is okay because we've got a lot of activity happening outside of my window there. Um, but you and I are going to keep going for a few more minutes so we can finish our lesson time together. Okay. But we have, if I add a bit more cornstarch, and I should be able to make, there we go. Now it's Ooblek. Okay. And like I said, the objective, I got your yes, right? The objective of today's activity was not to make Ooblek. At the end, we got Ooblek, but our main objective today was to use familiar things within our homes and our kitchens and so forth to classify our substances, to learn about those three classifications: transparent, translucent, and opaque. So I could play with this if I wanted to, right? If you have permission from the adult that you're with, or if you're the adult, you could decide to play with your Ooblek. And remember, out of the 3 different classifications, your Ooblek, especially if it has food coloring in it, is going to be classified as opaque because light is not going to be able to pass through. Let's test this one more time just so that you can really observe, right? The light is not passing through. Even if I go the other way, take it from the bottom, there's no light that is able to pass through. So this substance is facially opaque. So that is it for today. Let's review the materials that you'll need if you didn't get to do this with me. Your materials that you will need, you need 3 cups. You see why you need the 3 different cups so that you can see the 3 different classifications. You'll use some food coloring. The darker the color, the better. Okay. And in this cup, I had my water, and I had it full of water so that I would have enough water to make all 3 samples. And then I'm going to answer your question. Give me 2 seconds. And then I used cornstarch. Okay. Now I have a question over here on Instagram about using gelatin. So first of all, you could totally try it. Okay. And send me a reply and let me know how it goes. One thing that I will bring to your attention is that gelatin, once it's mixed in, typically becomes the color, okay, of the substance you're using. And so gelatin doesn't typically stop light. It doesn't typically absorb light. Okay. And so things that absorb light make something closer to opaque. Today we talked about transparent, translucent, and opaque. All the light passes through, some light passing through, no light passing through. All right, let's get ready to sign off over here on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me today. We had a great time testing how much light will pass through a substance.